Okay, welcome back to Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. On the splatters, you guys. I might be able to erase death, but it's true, I can't do much about injuries. But really, you shouldn't talk that way.
Yes, sorry, I suppose you're right. I just hate feeling so helpless. He was right there within my grasp. All our plans were resting on tonight, and then this had to happen.
I guess he's thinking about his spotless record. It's not too late, Inspector. We might still have a chance. Maybe I can catch him.
Say, you're right. That's not a bad idea. I'll cooperate with you fully. Go ahead and fire away with any questions you like, Mr. Ghost.
Mr. Ghost. Revenge? Revenge. That guy mentioned revenge. Revenge against the people who stole his life away 10 years ago.
He's a fool. He's the one who made the decision to take the little girl hostage and wound up dead. He only has himself to blame.
But what about when he said this? I was murdered by all of you! Detective Jowd who forced me into a corner, Lynn the girl who was playing in the park, and finally you, Inspector Cabanella. If you hadn't done that, what you did, I never would have pointed a gun at that kid.
Yes, 10 years ago on that day, the Special Investigation Unit was working on a certain big case. We hauled in a young man and an important witness to our investigation. And then I did it. I made two very stupid mistakes.
Detective, I'm telling you, I don't know anything about it.
Fine. You're under no obligation to talk, of course. But if you don't, the Special Investigation Unit can make the rest of your life a living hell.
But I'd
just been assigned to the Special Investigation Unit, you see. They didn't share much info on the big cases with a newbie like me yet, and I wanted to impress them. It was only supposed to be a simple matter of taking his statement. But I was too green. I pushed him too hard. I drove him into a corner and made him lose all hope. That was my first mistake. And then I made another mistake on top of that.
Cabanella, got a minute? The chief wants to see you about your report.
Got it, I'll be right there. You stay right here and be a good boy. Be a good boy now. There.
And off he goes.
And that's when I did it. I left it behind in the interrogation room. My gun. How could you? He used my gun to escape. What he said is true. If I hadn't made that mistake, he never would have had a gun to point at Lynn in the first place.
Manipulator.
We first found out about the manipulator's existence during a certain overseas communication.
Overseas communication?
For national security purposes, this country keeps tabs on communication networks. This particular communication was about making a deal with a certain foreign country.
Who is this? He said he wanted to buy him and him and his powers.
Well, maybe that was Cabanella continuing.
Oh, right.
That's how we first heard about him. Of course, we didn't know what he looked like at the time. And in order to prove these powers of his, he gave them two predictions. he foresaw two completely preposterous, impossible cases. The case of a man who would sing national secrets during a live rock concert broadcast, and the case of a man who would take the chief commissioner hostage in his own office.
Those two inmates at the special prison, eh?
We kept tabs on their communications and launched an investigation. And then finally we pinpointed where they were going to meet tonight and staked it out.
Yeah, that's where we were, Beauty.
Yes.
That restaurant, the Chicken Kitchen.
The manipulator plans on leaving this country tonight. On a submarine that belongs to the other country in this deal.
Submarine?
But we haven't been able to find out where it's going to surface. It's terrifying to think what would happen if its powers were to fall into their hands. Right. Highly unlikely they'd use him for peaceful purposes. And now they have that little girl as a hostage.
Camilla.
We have to stop him before he leaves the country!
Spotless record. This spotless record of yours, is it really that important to you?
Of course, baby! In some ways, it's more important to me than my life.
Then your life, eh?
After all, it's because of my record that I'm able to get my hands on all intel as head of the Special Investigation Unit. And because of my position, I get to direct all aspects of the investigation into the manipulator case.
The manipulator case? That's why you cared about your record so much?
Of course! Why else, baby? I just never could believe it, man. Jowd shooting Alma. That name is weird to pronounce, man. I didn't care that he confessed. There was definitely something more to the story. Some secret. I did everything I could to climb the ladder, everything in my power. And then I finally found the answer. It took 5 long years, though. The manipulator. He's going to prove that Jowd is innocent.
What incredible determination. And one last thing, Cabanilla's determination. There's one thing I just don't understand. If you were so determined to help Detective Jowd, why didn't you help him escape from prison?
That's an easy one, baby. Escaping from prison is a crime. I wasn't about to help him commit a crime after spending 5 years trying to prove him innocent.
Oh, yeah.
And he himself asked to be executed, you know. As a man of the law, I had to make sure the execution was stopped legally. And that's why I brought him before the Justice Minister, too. I needed to buy as much time as I possibly could, baby!
So that's it, eh? But there's one little unfortunate result of all this. Lynn completely misunderstood your intentions.
What's a little misunderstanding? My baby will come around. Give it time! But there are more important things to do with our time tonight.
And bet. Okay, now we gotta talk to the other guy. So, Mr. Superintendent, do you mind if I talk to you for a minute?
I haven't always been a junkyard superintendent, you know. I used to be part of the police.
The police, huh?
Not as a detective, but as a medical examiner. I investigated victims' cause of death. 10 years ago, I was asked to autopsy a strange corpse. Hit by a meteorite fragment and died instantly. That's what the police report said. There were no signs of life. He was definitely dead. But I never filed an autopsy report. That's because the corpse suddenly vanished, leaving behind only one clue.
Unusual?
What? But I think that's Sissel saying that.
I bet that's what I've been chasing all night. Could you tell me more?
Yeah, sure. I have an interest in you recovering your memory and finding your true identity, too.
Unusual corpse.
That's the only way I can describe it, too. It was an unusual corpse. It was dead, alright, no question about that. But there wasn't a scratch on him.
Not a scratch, but I thought he was hit by a meteorite fragment.
I don't understand it any more than you do. I was completely bewildered, but when I tried to autopsy him, I was even more puzzled. I couldn't perform the autopsy.
You couldn't? What do you mean?
The scalpel went in, but I couldn't cut. As soon as I tried to make an incision, it would heal up the very next instant.
Oh my gosh, Sissel is Wolverine!
Sisselvine!
Sisselvine! And, oh, that's... Yeah.
And that's how it went. No scarring or blood, either.
It's like he was a mannequin.
And I never had the chance to solve the mystery.
That's because the corpse up and vanished on us.
The morgue is well guarded. Nobody could have stolen that body. But there's one way the corpse could have disappeared.
What's that?
It just got up and walked on its own power. Like this.
That is creepy.
Suddenly, this game makes a lot more sense for Halloween.
Yeah.
I mean, other than the whole playing as a ghost thing, I really wasn't seeing it at first. It got up, opened the door, and walked out on its own.
What?
He was dead, but he wasn't dead.
We saw it with our own eyes tonight. Not even that explosion could kill him.
And it didn't even feel, and he didn't even feel it when he slammed his fist on that stove. Clue left behind.
The corpse left behind some data from the testing I did. I got some readings for some kind of radiation coming off of that body.
Radiation?
I used all kinds of instruments, but I couldn't determine exactly what kind of radiation it was. Some undiscovered type from a world unknown.
Wait a minute, could it be aliens?
That's right. I don't mean about the aliens. It was coming from that meteorite fragment. Now this is sounding like a Stephen King novel.
This is seriously sounding like that one plot arc in Spider-Man where he gets the symbiote powers.
Or a Stephen King novel.
Both. Spider-Man, Stephen King, Spider-King!
I went to the park and tested the spot where the meteorite fell. And, just as I expected, I detected radiation coming from the crater. It was the exact same pattern of radiation as that of the corpse. Speech patterns throw my voice acting off. At the time, I thought he was some kind of...
Immortal being, sorry.
He would die only to come back to life. I wanted to research it all in depth, so I quit my job as a police medical examiner. Several years later, I came to learn the connection between my research and the manipulator case. Thanks to the arrival of this crazy character here, Oh, stop now, Professor! Do you want to see me blush? That would be quite amusing, actually.
Cabanella's arrival.
It was about a year ago, I'd say. This man in white came dancing into my research lab here.
Yeah.
Oh, and when I said dancing, I meant literally. I heard there was an oddball here who's researching Tenzing. Is that you, baby?
Cool.
Who are you to be calling anybody an oddball? I was investigating the manipulator case then. And then I heard there was a man who quit the police force to study the meteorite. When I heard that, it was like a meteorite had struck me on the head. But not the kind that gives you ghost powers. Also, I got Clark Kent working for me right now.
Yeah.
At the time, we were just starting to get leads on this manipulator. We didn't know yet who he was. We didn't know who he was yet. But we knew he was communicating with a certain foreign country. In one of those communications, we heard the manipulator say this.
The source of my power is not of this world.
And that's when I put two and two together, baby. And the manipulator case in Tenzing was somehow connected. Which also explains how 5 years ago he used his powers to manipulate a birthday surprise a little girl made for her mother. He added that gun to the contraption most likely by controlling Camilla.
Oh, I guess we're done questioning these guys. Finally! We're at the end of the episode! So, that contraption in the basement here, you built that to try and help Detective Jowd.
That's right. Jowd and I worked together back when I was with the Force. I used the reports of this case to try and recreate the device. But there was just one part of it that I couldn't reproduce, no matter how hard I tried.
Camilla told Jowd it did something it shouldn't have. Made an impossible move.
I added that part to the device I recreated. I put in a part that would allow Cupid to rotate, otherwise the gun wouldn't fire.
So that must mean somebody manipulated Camilla's contraption.
As a result, we proved to ourselves that the manipulator actually existed.
Well. Inspector Cabanela!
Hey, baby!
He doesn't look as energetic. Gee, I wonder why.
Sorry about the phone call. I must have sounded like a real villain. I hate it to spoil your image of me. Of that cool cat inspector you always looked up to.
Is that really the image she had of him? Inspector Cabanela, I'm sorry, I just heard you were chasing after that man all this time to try and help Detective Jowd.
This manipulator is such a dangerous character. I was hoping you didn't have to be involved.
So that's why you had me arrested tonight, isn't it?
Like I always say, if somebody's in the way, throw him in the slammer.
Yikes.
Tonight, I really thought we finally had him. But my body gave out on me right at the critical moment. It's like a cruel joke.
But a joke is a joke, you might as well laugh. Ha ha!
Child!
The minister called off the execution order. And while he was at it, he let Detective Chow go free until tomorrow morning, too.
That's a pretty extreme while he was at it. And I'm getting a lot of voice acting in this episode.
Yeah, all your characters are here.
Sorry I took so long to get here. You can leave the rest to me.
There you go again. You've always been like that. You make everybody else run around and then you swoop in at the last second. I don't know who that. Child, 5 years ago, you left this coat with me just before you turned yourself in. I promised to give it back to you one day.
That poor bird. Why is he even making the bird carry it? It's unnecessary.
He looks ridiculous.
Yeah, the detective jacket does not go well with the prison uniform. I've been waiting so long, Detective Chow. Waiting for this day to come.
Thanks for not giving up on me, Lynn. Okay, I'm off then.
Good luck, my old friend. Wow. And this is why we Americans do voice recording in sound booths.
This present you gave me. It's just what I needed. Thank you.
Glad you liked it.
Off he goes to rescue his daughter. Sissel, are you there? Yeah, I'm here. You and I have to go find that man. I need your help. Will you go with me? Sure, but how? You don't know where the submarine is and the phone line doesn't work. They use communication cables to make their calls. We'll get you hooked up somehow. You'll see. Could you wait here until we do, please? Okay, fine. I'm counting on you. This true self you're looking for. I bet you'll find it soon. All right, I'm leaving, Inspector Cabanella.
You know, now that I look at the helmet on the ground, it looks like a Metoir.
Yeah, and it is a Capcom game. It's almost dawn. I'm not who I thought I was. I'm actually further from knowing who I am than ever. But now, I don't feel so alone. Each one of us, for his or her own reasons, is looking for the truth. Together, I think we can shed light on these mysteries and drive away the darkness. But it's almost dawn. You know what they say, Cecil? It's always darkest before the dawn. Ah, finally! We've been playing this chapter for forever! What is this, 4 episodes?
Yeah.
Okay, save. Okay, we'll continue playing next time. See you guys later.